Hey, third try. Let's hope it doesn't fucking rain this time. Because normally I start my video like 8-10 minutes after leaving home. Do it all the way until I'm in a park not far from home. Walk the entire park, arrive to the end and turn around to do it again. And basically stop around 5 minutes from my home. I arrived at the park with about 10-11 minutes of recording, and it starts to rain like crazy. Well, not like crazy, but basically a lot of drops, just extremely small. So basically you can still walk in this, you won't be wet. But for a phone, let's just say it might as well just break it, or at least make it really hard to record, because it's going to keep messing with the screen. So yeah, now I'm trying it again, because I literally left the park by the other side, because I decided to walk it the entire way. So about 20-25 minutes, the moment I arrive a bit further from the park, it stops to rain completely. So now, trying this again, and hopefully it won't rain, because I'm really annoyed. I don't know if I said second try or third try, but it's my third try, because just like yesterday, a massive amount of cars when I was trying to record got to the place where normally no cars can, well, actually pass. Started recording again, recorded for 10-11 minutes, and now basically trying for the third time after basically the fucking rain happened. Let's hope I can record this time. So yeah, where we left last part was right after the Stain arc, right when they came back to school, and everyone was congratulating Deku for actually having beaten Stain while having the permission of a hero. So actually being told you can try to fight any villains. So basically the police was able to basically let him have the fame under the order that Endeavor told him, yes, you can fight. So yeah, Deku basically was able to get the fame, with Ida and Shoto basically being told to never talk about it, and mostly telling Ida that don't talk about it because you might go in prison. Mostly you in particular, since you actually went straight to fight him without actually having a reason to do so, because they don't count his brother as being a good reason, for obvious reasons. Like, oh, he was injured in duty, he was hurt from Stain. Okay, yeah, but don't seek revenge against the villain. Like, okay, yeah, if it attacks you, defend yourself and try to run, but don't attack it just because. So yeah, now basically we're going to do a small time skip of basically the few days where they basically get told, oh yeah, you're going to have a written test and a practical test. Basically all the thing for the written test are basically the same, since nobody's more intelligent or dumber. Deku basically the same except stronger, so doesn't change a lot. And yeah, the only difference in the entire story right now are that Deku's stronger. Shoto already tries to think about using his fire, and Bakugo's even angrier against Deku and is nowhere close to the same point he was in the anime at that point, but will shut up because it was drilled in his head by Best Genius that if Deku wanted to, he could kill him. So to not try to piss him off anymore. So yeah, Bakugo is now a lot calmer. Yeah, he'll scream to Deku, but he won't actually tell him to die anymore. Or at least not that much while trying to blow his head off. So, yeah. Now, we get to the part where they're going to be told that they're going to fight the heroes instead of robots. And most of the two students basically shit themselves, with Deku just being interested. Because, well, he did train to be able to tolerate even more pain, as well as actually having a bit more play into what he can use of One For All. On top of accelerating a bit his healing and having Black Whip to do a lot of things with it. Basically, instead of studying like everyone else, Deku basically tried to, well, continue training. This time trained to actually jump on walls. Basically, he wanted to at least have the basic with Black Whip, which was what he did for the entire week with Endeavor. Week or a bit more, I don't remember perfectly. But yeah, basically all the time he was there, he was training his Black Whip as a primary thing. And as a second thing he was training was basically his body. By forcing himself to stay at 20% all the time. Basically breaking his skin, muscle, and bones slowly, while also keeping the regeneration on. Basically naturally. So the third thing that was being trained was his actual healing, which was basically just an adverse effect of training his body, even though it was kind of in the back of his mind. While he was doing all that though, since he was breaking his body, he was getting stronger and tougher as well, while also increasing every power thanks to the unlimited growth that he got from completing the trial. So he basically uses around 14 to 15% most of the time with One For All without actually breaking his body, with now being 20 where he can still use it without breaking himself, but it hurts like hell. But the power One For All still increases thanks to the unlimited growth. Though it is slow, but yeah, at some point they're just going to realize that you say you're using 20% right there, but the last time you used 20% and that I saw it, you kind of weren't that strong. Like literally at one point in the story that's going to happen. Since his body's increasing in power thanks to the unlimited growth, but One For All is also increasing in power because of that power as well. So he's basically boosting everything once again. Basically, there's One For All who boosts the other quirks inside of it, and that other skill, Infinite Growth, that basically boosts them even more over time. So yeah, Deku's going to be way strong. So basically, they do the teams. They're the exact same teams, with Deku and Bakugo being against All Might for the finals. And basically, every battle except two are different. Well, a bit different for one of them. Yes, Shoto and Momo's team against Aizawa won't change that much. Yes, he uses his fire more now, well, a bit of his fire now, but it won't do that much change simply because I want Momo to still have her moment of realization that she's intelligent, she can make plans, she doesn't need to simply listen to other people. So yeah, I'm basically leaving that battle basically the same, except with a bit more fire. Um, so, for the other team, well, for the first team that actually changed something, it's Uraraka's team. Thanks to Deku's training earlier on, she's actually stronger than before. Though, because it's against 13, it doesn't change everything. Just a bit, which is that, first, she keeps composure a lot more easily when Aoyama tells her that, oh, you're in love with Deku. Because yes, she's been with him for a long time. Yes, her feeling did grow a lot faster. But basically, she's a lot more concentrated on the fight because of how Deku taught her. Basically telling her that when she's in a fight, everything else, just remove it. Emotions, try to remove them. Anger can be good sometimes, but not always. Everything else, try not to think about it. So basically, in that moment, she blushes a bit, but she doesn't freeze and let go. But basically, she was trying to think of a plan already, so basically, once again, from Deku teaching her that, oh yeah, always try to find an answer, always try to find the crack in the armor, basically. So she basically realized after a bit, like a lot longer than what it took in the anime, simply because, well, she didn't freeze and let go, that 13 is still a hero, so she won't actually kill the students. So she told Aoyama that they need to let go. Aoyama thinking she's crazy until she basically just said it, she won't kill us! Which basically he kind of accepted, they let go. 13 obviously closes her black holes because I don't want to kill the students. And allowing them to win. So basically the small change is that literally Uraraka's a lot more in control of her emotions while in battle. Though right after the battle, that's when she suddenly kind of realized what Aoyama said, and now she freezes. So basically making everyone just see that and think, what's happening? So after that, every other battle after them is basically the same until we get to Deku and Bakugo against All Might. All Might once again has the same weights on him and everything. He is a bit stronger though than in the anime and manga, simply because, well, think of it like this. He wasn't as injured against the Nomu, so he still has more time on his hand and a bit more power that he can use. So that's already a good thing. Secondly, Deku having, well, a lot more power will make the fight change a lot, so he's basically ready to go a little bit further in power. Basically thinking that if Deku actually decides to use One for All at 100% and that Bakugo accepts to carry him to the end, or at least runs to the end, they'll win. And knowing Deku, who can be reckless sometimes, basically just thinking of the stain incident that happened literally not long ago, he basically decided to go a lot further, just because, oh yeah, if he decides to go all out, I know when he got One for All, it grew a lot stronger for some reason, as well as unlocking 2 other quirks. So yeah, for now, basically he's ready to go a lot further, and he already had a lot more power. So the punch that blew away some cars, yeah, Deku realized that it was coming, and basically told Bakugo to, well, hide. Because with a lot more wind, if cars already got blown away, this time they might get blown away all the way to them, which some actually did. So, ouch. Deku told him that they either fight All Might or go to the end. Bakugo screaming at him that they're going to fight, obviously. It's just All Might. The strongest... no. Bakugo saying, we're gonna fight, obviously. With Deku saying, yeah, right, the best idea ever. Fighting All Might. He's just the strongest hero ever, right? Basically trying to kind of push Bakugo in another direction for his ideas. But he still said that they're going to fight him. Basically telling Deku that he has a lot of power too. Basically putting his pride a bit on the side and saying that together they might beat him. Something that is really not Bakugo at all, but remember, he basically got drilled in his head that Deku is stronger than him. So yeah, he doesn't have a choice but to think, I hate him, but I need his help. Basically putting him basically at a stress level of 99%, thinking that fucking hell, I have to do this with him. But yeah, so they start basically going towards All Might, with Deku telling Bakugo that he needs to go from a different street to try and catch All Might off guard. He's probably thinking that, oh, Bakugo's going to try and either fight him face straight on, both of them are going to fight him straight on, or just Deku going to fight him straight on, with the other one trying to go to the exit. So if you take one of the other streets, and basically I make him think that you're trying to go to the exit, he's going to try and go towards the exit to stop you, right? Which would be a good moment to finally come out of hiding and blast him either in the back or something like that. Which Bakugo basically sees as, well, at first as a bad idea, until he basically just starts thinking that, yeah, no, if All Might tries to punch me, and that I accidentally gets too close, and that he hits me for real, I might just die. He doesn't like the idea, but he kind of has to go with it. And basically they go to start. Deku basically walking most of the way there to basically let Bakugo get behind All Might beforehand. So when Deku finally arrives close to All Might, well, close enough for him to see him, All Might just laughs, saying, so, young Bakugo decided to run away. Basically, Bakugo hearing that and being angry, but because of how he was treated by Best Genius, he's able to control his anger a tiny bit better than in the original, basically allowing him to just concentrate on wait for the right moment, wait for the right moment, wait for the right moment. With Deku basically yelling at All Might that, well, they have to win somehow. So All Might basically just laughing at this, thinking that, well, thinking in his head, I was sure that Bakugo would come here straight away. But seems like he took their voice of reason. Then All Might tells Deku that, well, if they're going to be the only two here, he might as well go all out, and basically prepares a punch and send a smash. Basically, what happened was that he threw it toward Deku. Deku prepared his own smash with one hand, with the other basically sent black whips around, well, to grab onto a building, basically thinking that he doesn't want to be blown away. And smashes with a 20%. So not breaking his body, but hurting like hell anyway. And it didn't block All Might's hit, since obviously it's not a 100% compared to All Might. Well, Deku would only need a 33.33333, and you understand what I mean, percent to actually do it, since his One For All is 3 times stronger than All Might's One For All. So a 20% is basically 60% of All Might. Which is huge, if you think about it. So yeah, the punch is, well, the air blast is still basically weakened. Though because when they meet in the middle, it was still like a huge amount of power coming from both sides. Some buildings actually were blown away. Well, not blown away, but basically shook out of foundation and started to crumble. With All Might just thinking, that's way too strong. How many percent did he put in that? Until he saw Deku flying and thinking, how strong did he get? Before Deku basically launched himself forward with the black whips that were on the building to get closer to All Might. All Might just reacted fast and basically went to do another punch, with Deku turning around basically on a dime, with black whips actually stuck on the ground. All Might basically just going for a punch, but Deku just stopping in the air and suddenly kicking upward, basically sending a blast of air towards All Might, pushing him back. Since obviously if he isn't ready for it, he is going to be pushed back. And literally what happened was that then he screamed, "Now!" With Bakugo coming out of an alley, readying his glove, basically releasing the pin. All Might basically punching in the air to push himself down to try and basically stop Bakugo from doing that. Being able to do so, Bakugo just thinking, shit, with Deku throwing a car at All Might, basically stopping him for a second, jumping forward, readying a smash and sending it straight for All Might. All Might trying to block it, with Bakugo thinking fast enough to unleash the other pin from his other glove. Deku pushing back, with All Might being met straight in the face with a massive explosion, which he was able to punch fast enough to basically not get the full brunt of the attack, but still being sent almost to a building, which hurts a lot. In that moment, Deku basically grabbed Bakugo while he was angry that Deku was doing that, basically threw him towards All Might, with Bakugo putting the tape around All Might's hand, basically being able to win without escaping, but actually fighting, with almost everyone just screaming that they beat All Might. One of the students saying that, well, All Might was holding back after all, and on top of that he had the weight, so of course it wasn't that strong, but they were fighting against All Might. It is impressive. While that was happening, in All Might's head, it was basically just, damn, in a month or two, will he be able to beat me by himself? Talking about Deku, because obviously with the speed at which he was increasing in power, basically All Might right there was thinking, like, he knew Deku increase in power. Well, One For All increase in power when Deku got it, but he was just thinking like, a certain percentage came up, basically was added to it, or it got doubled. He didn't think it was tripled, so he was generally thinking Deku was using either 30 to 40% of the power right there. that he was able to use, and thinking that it basically made a 60 to 80% against him. No, he's just using 20%, which is scary. Basically, after the fight, All Might went to talk with Deku, basically asking him about how much power he used, because that was way too strong. He should have broken his body. With Deku saying that it isn't too strong compared to what he was using before. Basically explaining All Might about 10% being okay, then 14% being like the limit where it hurts, but he doesn't actually damages his body. Then during that time with Endeavor, he basically had 20% constantly on, breaking his body constantly, then healing himself. Basically until he was able to use 20% like he was doing with the 14%, where it hurts, but he doesn't get damaged. All Might told him that was crazy. Because with the amount of power he was using, it basically looked like 60% of his power. Basically making both of them realize that Deku's 1-for-all is 3 times stronger than what All Might's 1-for-all is. Making All Might think, oh fuck. And telling Deku that his body is really amazingly strong. And actually a lot tougher than anyone should be. Since if he's able to hold that much power, basically 60% of his own power, when basically he shouldn't be anywhere close to that. Like in the anime at that point he's around 8%? Well, still at 5, I think. So nowhere close to that. And that's for the original power. So yeah, basically think he's using, if he was using 5% there, it would be just 3 times. But then you have to quadruple that to 12 times, because it's 3 times stronger than in the anime. So yeah, Deku's basically a monster when All Might thinks about it. So basically the results are set, and they talk about them going to train later. I'm going to end it here and ask a single question that will be actually important. Because I made 2 scripts starting from there. One where they actually go to the island from the movie, and one where they don't. I want to know if you want to have Deku, Momo, All Might, and all of those go to the island, or do you want to go straight for the forest arc where they basically won't have that part added to them? Hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. If you have any questions or comments, or a response to what I asked, leave them in the comment section. Tomorrow I'm not going to do this what if, to let you time to respond. Actually, tomorrow I'm just not going to record at all, so yeah. Natsu, out!